searching in our dreams to find that little castle in the air. When worry starts to cloud the mind, it's hard to leave it all behind and just pretend you haven't got a care. There's someone else in your
Now there's a rarity, Vernon. You with your head buried in a book.
You'd be surprised, Gina. Let's see if the book's a good one.
I found that for him.
Oh, yeah?
It was down the back seat of the taxi. Must have fallen out of somebody's pocket.
I'm surprised you think you got anything left to learn about business, Vernon. I thought you knew everything.
On the contrary, Oscar, the true entrepreneur is always ready to learn.
I'll drink to that. Another large G&T, please. Man after my own heart, by the sound of it.
So you're a businessman too?
Indeed. And if I've learned anything, it's to keep your mind open to new ideas.
Absolutely right.
Care for a drink yourself?
Vernon Scripps.
Leonard Marks.
Very kind of you.
Well, we don't make the money we do just to keep it in our pockets, do we?
Indeed not.
So, what line of business are you in?
I run a high-quality chauffeur and taxi service. However, I do diversify into other areas when I see the opportunity.
I think I may have just the opportunity for you.
Really?
Minimal outlay, massive profits in a matter of months. And the best bit of all, other people do most of the work. Ever heard of Shine Fresh?
Sunny, well, yesterday my life was filled with rain. Sunny, you smile at me and really ease the pain. Oh, the dark days are done, the bright days are here. My sunny one shines so sincere. Sunny
Jack.
one so true. I love you.
All right. Jack.
So this is basically flogging cheap cleaning gear for a large profit.
Not quite, Vernon. For a start, these products, polishers, bleachers, cloths, dusters, are all top-quality branded names. Shine Fresh isn't about diddling people.
Oh, no, of course not.
Just can't see where the profit comes from, eh?
Well, no.
It's all about structure
Structure.
and where you are in it. Essentially, I find a person of vision in a particular area. He pays me a stake, forms a local selling club, and recruits others. They pay him a stake, and so on, and so on, and so on. Everyone makes money. The regional man, most of all.
I see.
I don't.
It's brilliant.
And simple. Like all the most revolutionary business ideas.
You wouldn't happen to be looking for a person of vision in this area, would you?
I certainly am.
Then look no further.
He went out a couple of hours ago. Said he was going for a drive. Came back and just collapsed.
Jack's diabetic, isn't he?
Yeah.
Do you know if he's taken his insulin today?
Late this afternoon, I saw him inject himself.
And has he eaten?
Not that I know of. He's not been eating very much at all lately.
He's gone into a hypoglycemic coma. I need to get some dextrose into him fast.
He's still badly shaken, but it could have been much worse. Don't be too long with him.
Thank you. Mr. Shaw.
Well then,
What's happened?
Well, I saw him as I approached the junction. I thought he was going to stop. It was my right way. Oh, driving like a lunatic he was. He must have seen me, but he pulled out right in front of me. Must have been drunk or something.
Have you got a description of the vehicle?
Oh, aye, Aston Martin.
Colour?
Burgundy.
Any other identification?
No, but there can't be many cars like that in the area, can there?
No.
If it was once locking up.
Well, don't worry. We'll catch the culprit and deal with him, Mr. Shaw. Rest assured.
All right.
Feeling better?
Thanks.
Why did it happen?
You've had your insulin injection today.
Yes.
And if you hadn't eaten for a while and had been overdoing it,
I've been out for a drive, that's all.
driving can be stressful.
For you and I, maybe, Doctor, but for a former Formula One racing driver.
Of course. Sorry. Anyway, whatever the reason, I suggest you take it easy for a day or two. I'll pop back tomorrow.
There's no need.
You'll have to let me be the judge of that.
Thanks, Doctor.
Well, I still don't get it, Mr. Vernon.
Look, it's quite simple, David. This is Leonard.
Is it?
And these are Leonard's regional representatives. That's me on the end.
No, well, you're a bit fatter than that, Mr. Vernon.
And then these are my recruits to Shine Fresh.
Right. Now, what are they called?
Well, I don't know. I haven't found them yet. And then these recruits are the new recruits that my recruits recruit.
Eh?
Oh, never mind. Let's get cracking.
So he was really a racing driver?
Brilliant, apparently. All set to be champion, but then he had a bad accident at Le Mans. Tried to make a comeback, but his confidence was never the same. Retired when he was still in his 20s.
Blimey. Mrs. McLean?
No, I'm Ruth Dalbraith, his housekeeper. Can I help you?
Yeah, we'd like a word with Mr. McLean, please.
I'm afraid he's gone shopping with his wife.
According to our records, he owns an Aston Martin.
That's right.
Was he out in it last night?
You'd better ask him yourself.
What's going on?
Mr. McLean, PC's Bellamy and Crane, Ashfordley Police. Were you driving this car last night?
Yes, why?
Well, a farmer named Gary Shaw is in Ashfordley General Hospital following an accident last night. He claims a burgundy Aston Martin forced him off the road.
And you're suggesting it was me?
Well, there aren't many of these in the area.
It was nothing to do with me.
You sure?
You're not accusing my husband of lying.
I'm not accusing anybody, but you must see why we're here.
It was nothing to do with me. Nah, if you'll excuse me.
Is that all?
For now, but we may need to come again.
It's how they all started, Bernard. Henry Ford, Lord Beaverbrook.
With cleaning fluids?
No, with a sound commercial idea.
I don't know why you're telling me all this.
Because I need somewhere to store the product.
Well, you'd better not be thinking of keeping it in here.
Looks like the first load, Mr. Vernon.
Oh.
Vernon, how are you?
All the better for seeing you. This is my brother, Bernard. He's kindly agreed to let us use the premises for storage.
Keen to be part of Shine Fresh too, eh?
I haven't said that.
You will, Bernard. You will. All right, David, give Vincent a lift. So, just the small matter of payment.
Of course. What did we say for the first consignment? 80, wasn't it?
Call it 70 for cash. A spot of introductory discount, eh?
That's very generous.
So, got your recruiting strategy worked out yet?
I certainly have.
visitor for you, Jack.
Dr. Merrick.
Thank you.
I told you not to bother.
I just want to make sure you're managing your diabetes properly.
Of course I am.
So as well as your injections, you're eating sensibly?
Yes.
At regular intervals?
Yes.
And not drinking too much?
I'm not giving up alcohol.
I'm not asking you to give up, but...
One has to do something to make life manageable.
Look, I know it's not an easy illness to cope with.
Oh, you don't say. My eyesight's getting worse. I can't concentrate. I've got no energy at all. You start to wonder what the point is.
Well, for a start, you have Sarah.
Who must be wondering why she ended up marrying a decrepit wreck like me. I'm sorry. I appreciate you're trying to help. But after last night, I don't know if anyone can.
How do you mean?
I had an accident on the way home. I was feeling faint. Vision was blurring. I just sailed across a junction and forced someone off the road. I denied it when the police called earlier. But they're coming back. I'm going to have to come clean.
I see.
They'll take away my license. If I can't drive, then...
I'm sure things must seem very bleak at the moment, Jack. But we can get you through this.
Of course, we could just go from door to door recruiting people. But an intensive leafleting campaign, followed by a series of selling seminars, would be far more efficient.
And you want to hold these seminars here, do you?
Exactly.
Well, I haven't got a problem with it, Vernon.
No, neither have I.
Oh, good.
As long as the price is right.
Hey?
Well, you obviously expect to make a killing out of this so you can afford to pay us rent for the room.
It's not about me making a killing, Oscar. Shine Fresh promises rewards for all those who join. You might even consider joining yourself.
Then again, I might not.
Everybody's talking about the seventh son. In the whole round world, there's only one. I'm the one. Yes, I'm the one. I'm the one, I'm the one they call the seventh son. I can tell your future, it will come to pass. I can do things for you, make your heart feel glad. Look in the sky, predict the rain. I can tell when a woman's got another man. I'm the one. Yes, I'm the one. I'm the one they call the seventh son.
Hello?
I can talk these words that will sound so sweet. They will even make your little heart skip a beat. I can heal the sick.
Mr. McLean?
Make little girls talk out their head.
Hello? Hello?
Born under a bad sign. I've been down since I began to crawl. If it wasn't for bad luck, I wouldn't have no life at all.
What's going on?
Sarah, I'm afraid I have some very bad news. Jack's dead.
What?
I'm so sorry.
One of my colleagues, PC Crane, called round about half an hour ago to interview him again about the road traffic accident and found him on the sitting room floor.
But how?
That'll be a matter for the police and the coroner to establish, Sarah. But when I called round earlier to see Jack, he was clearly in a very fragile mental state. He admitted he'd been involved in the collision.
You think it was suicide? I knew he was depressed, but I never thought he'd go that far. Oh.
Come on, Sarah. We can talk to her later, okay?
Of course.
It's not compulsory, Mrs. Winstanley, but I do think you would find that my Shine Fresh motivational seminar is most enlightening. Oh, I'll see you there.
Oh, Mrs. Hackett's coming, and Mrs. Laidlaw and her sister are as keen as mustard.
David, this is looking more than promising. It's as if the entire community is beginning to sense a new potential. Do you know, the people of this area will never look at household products in the same way ever again.
Really?
All right.
Yes, fine.
No, you're not. It's Jack McLean, isn't it? I suppose it's an inevitable part of your job, but it can't be easy when a patient dies.
Especially in circumstances like this. I can't help thinking that maybe there was more I could have done or said.
Come on, I'm sure you did everything you could, Liz. He obviously just couldn't see any other way out of his problems. It doesn't sound like anyone could have prevented him taking his own life.
I suppose not.
So, you get back to work, eh? Don't dwell on it.
No.
Cars were everything to him. In a way, he never got over having to abandon his racing career, but to be unable to drive at all because of some advancing disease. Yes, I'm afraid I can see why Jack would want to kill himself.
His marriage to Sarah, was that happy?
Apparently not happy enough to prevent him from doing this.
Has anyone else been up at the house today, Miss Dalbraith?
Dr. Merrick came this morning. I don't know about this afternoon. It was my half day off.
And you yourself have been here at the cottage all afternoon?
Yes.
Right. Thank you for your time. We'll be back later to take full statements from both yourself and Mrs. McLean.
Of course.
The beauty of it is, we're not only getting richer, but we're getting cleaner too. Your homes will sparkle like new pins, as will the homes of the people you recruit. Everyone benefits.
Oh, come on, Vernon. Cut the waffle, just tell us exactly how.
I'm just about to, Oscar. Now, this is me. And these shrewd future entrepreneurs are you, each of whom give me a stake.
How much, Vernon?
30 quid.
30 quid?
David, for which you will receive high-quality cleaning products to the value of over £60. Each of you then will recruit 5 new members of the club, taking a stake from each of them.
Of which you get what?
A modest percentage, Oscar.
Oh, aye. How modest?
Well, I can't say precisely. The exact figure is tied to, well, forward projections and medium-term performance criteria.
Well, 50%?
Well, certainly no more than that initially.
Right, that's me out.
But you've just made £75 for a 30 quid stake.
If something in life seems too good to be true, it generally is.
Rubbish. I think it's a grand idea. I'm willing to sign up now.
Thank you, Mrs. Winstanley. Oh, just one at a time, ladies.
I think they're mad.
Do you reckon?
Well, don't tell me you're tempted, Gina.
Couldn't have to with the cash.
You couldn't half lose it as well. With Vernon involved.
No suicide note, then?
Well, if there was, we haven't found it.
But when you find an empty syringe next to a body, that has to be the most likely explanation.
Well, could it be possible he just used the syringe to give himself his normal injection of insulin?
Perhaps. We won't know till we get the contents of the syringe analysed.
But do you think there's a chance someone else was involved?
Well, let's not rule anything out, eh?
The marriage wasn't in trouble in any way, was it?
Didn't sound too rosy from what the housekeeper told me.
There were rumours about the couple from the moment they moved into the area.
What kind of rumours?
Well, there was something about the death of Jack's first wife, and then there was a suggestion that Jack had been seeing Sarah before his first wife died, and that Sarah might have been responsible for the death.
I see.
Anyway, it was only rumours.
Pretty interesting ones, nevertheless. Where did they move here from?
From the Bridlington area, Sarge.
In that case, get onto the local force there, will you? See if you can find out any more.
Sarge?
The post-mortem results should make things clearer, too.
Yes, it went far better than I could possibly have imagined, Leonard. We'll be ready for another delivery tomorrow. Yes, as soon as that. Look, why don't we meet for a drink this evening and we can discuss the exact quantities? Excellent. See you then.
Don't say it.
Say what?
Oh, ye of little faith. This place is still jam-packed with your wretched cleaning stuff.
Not for much longer, Bernard. The public demand for my cleaning goods is already voracious. You should think about joining Shine Fresh. You'd make a lot more profit than you do from fixing cars and burying the dead.
Oh, thank you, Vernon, but I think I'll stick with what I know for the time being.
Crane? Any news yet?
Not yet, Sarge.
Who did the post-mortem, do you know?
Dr. Craven. I'm just waiting for his report.
Oh, dear.
Could be waiting all day, eh?
Could be.
Leave it to me, I'll order it.
Ah, Burton, there you are.
Dr. Craven, what can you tell us?
Ben!
How are you, Jenny?
Fine, thanks. Let me see. Housemaid's knee?
No.
That ingrown toenail playing you up again?
Oh, I don't have to make excuses to see her, do I?
No. She's just finishing with her last patient now. Good night, Mrs. Osborne.
Bye.
Hello.
How are you? Feeling any better?
Not much.
Right, well, I suggest we go straight down to the pub and unwind.
That'd be great.
Care to join us, Jenny?
Yeah, why not?
What about Dennis?
I'll phone the station, ask him to meet us there.
Aha, no need.
Dennis! Ben just asked us for a drink.
Maybe another night, eh?
What's wrong?
We've had the results on Dr. Craven's post-mortem on Jack McLean.
And?
He died of a massive overdose of insulin.
What?
We also had tests done on the syringe we found beside his body. And it contained residues of insulin of a very high strength.
I don't understand. This isn't the strength I prescribed.
You're quite sure about that?
Yes.
You couldn't have made a mistake? Prescribed too high a dose for him?
No.
Could there be any other explanation?
Well, there could only be one, couldn't there? That I've made some kind of dispensing error.
And is that possible, Jenny?
So exciting. I can't believe it.
They look chuffed.
I'd put it stronger than chuffed, Leonard. It must have been like this when the French Revolution started. The what? The feeling of a new age, of shared wealth and prosperity just around the corner.
You know, the prospect of getting your head cut off.
I take it you've decided not to come on board this project yet.
That's correct, Mr. Parks.
Oh, well, it's your loss, not ours.
Hey, listen. Oscar might have decided to look a gift horse in the mouth, but I'm not going to. So count me in, Vernon.
With pleasure, Gina.
Well, you don't wear onto his nibs, though, will you?
Of course not.
As a matter of fact, I've been giving it a bit more thought, too. I suppose I've got access to a lot of potential members through my other areas of business.
I knew you'd come round, Bernard. Now, about our next delivery, Leonard.
Yes. Let's talk quantities, shall we?
I would like as much as you can possibly get me.
I'll be frank with you, Vernon. There's a major redistribution of stock going on in the warehouses. Space is needed. I can let you have everything I've got at a very favorable price.
You sure this is the insulin Jack was using?
I suppose it must have been.
Well, it's certainly labelled as being of the strength that Dr. Merrick prescribed, but we'll get it analysed immediately.
I'm sorry, I'm finding all this very difficult to take in.
I can understand that.
Dr. Merrick has always been so kind and conscientious towards Jack. Any suggestion that she might have been negligent?
We're not suggesting she has been. At the moment, we're just trying to establish all the facts.
Of course.
Can you tell me when you last saw your husband alive, Mrs. McLean?
When I left home.
Did you see Jack give himself his insulin injection before you left?
No.
And where did you go this afternoon?
Shopping in Ashfordley.
Can you tell us where exactly? We may need to check.
Why? Oh, look, of course, I know you have to ask. I'm obviously a suspect.
We don't view you as a suspect, Mrs.
Please, I'm not stupid. You at least have to consider the possibility. But the truth is, Sergeant, I loved Jack. And of course I want you to find out how he died. Do you understand?
Of course I do.
I love his cap, his cream, his hate. Yet be about his sucker taste. I can't do without my man. While about his turnip top, like the way he warms my chop. I can't do without my kitchen man. Anybody else can leave, and I would own.
Ashfordley Police Station.
Alf, it's Oscar.
Oh, Oscar.
Look, I wonder if you can do me a favour.
I know it must seem like there's a catch, Mr. Preston, but really there isn't one. Yeah, well, can you imagine a cautious old thing such as myself getting involved otherwise? Yes. I'd be round in an hour or so, sign you up. Excellent.
We've got no room left, Mr. Vernon.
Well, there's nothing else for it. The remainder will have to go in the chapel of rest.
What's Mr. Scripps going to say?
Oh, don't worry. Bernard's doing so well out of this already. He won't complain. Go on.
Nothing you recruit.
What did I tell you?
This is a great credit to you, Vernon. To have made so much progress in such a short space of time.
Thanks to your help.
No. I'll let you into a secret. I've nominated you for Regional Representative of the Month.
Really?
You're sure to win.
Win? Win what exactly?
I believe the prize is a week in Mallorca.
Mallorca? What do you think of that, Bernard?
Oh, well, better be off. Suppose we ought to, settle up, really.
Oh, of course.
We need to get this tested as soon as possible. Any news from forensics about fingerprints on the syringe?
No, Sarge.
Well, hurry them up, would you? We need to know if anyone else might have administered the fatal injection.
Sarge, I managed to speak with the detective in Bridlington who investigated the death of Amanda McLean.
And?
Well, it seems that there were grounds for the rumours, but they were wide of the mark.
So what actually happened?
Well, it seems that the body of Mrs. McLean was found at the bottom of Flamborough Head. In the end, the police decided it was probably an accident, but in the course of their investigation, it emerged that Jack had been having an affair.
With Sarah?
No, with Ruth Dalbraith.
With Ruth Dalbraith?
What, she was the housekeeper at that time too?
Apparently so, yes. The police considered that she and Jack had conspired to do away with Amanda. But in the event, they were able to provide sound alibis.
Did the wife know of the affair?
There was no evidence that she did.
So her death was an accident, not suicide?
That was the coroner's conclusion.
But if Jack was having an affair with Ruth at the time of his wife's death, why didn't he carry on with the relationship? Why did he marry Sarah?
I think that's a question we should put to Ruth Dalbraith, don't you?
Miss Dalbraith, could we have a word?
Come in.
Miss Dalbraith, we've been making some inquiries about your relationship with Jack McLean at the time his first wife died. We're looking at the possibility that someone else may have deliberately administered the dangerously high dose of insulin.
You're suggesting that I might have done it?
We're not suggesting anything at the moment, but we need to know exactly what was going on in his life, including his relationship with you.
Sounds like you've already found out what there is to know.
It's true, then. You two did have an affair.
Yes. It was very brief and very foolish.
When did the affair end?
Before Amanda died, and she knew nothing of it. I'm positive of that.
Well, does Sarah know about it?
I've not told her. I can't imagine Jack would either. Oh, but I can see what you're implying. That I might have had some kind of lingering jealousy towards Sarah. That I was so jealous, in fact, I'd be prepared to kill Jack. Well, you can believe that if you like, but it's absolutely preposterous.
Miss Dalbraith, can I ask who this is?
Jack's solicitor. He was due to call on Sarah, explain about the inquest and so on. Now, if you don't mind, I'm really rather busy.
That's interesting.
You mean about her affair with Jack?
No, but the guy in the car. I'm not sure he's a solicitor. I think I've seen him somewhere else before.
Whereabouts?
I think it was the hospital, when I was waiting for the results of the post-mortem.
Already had quite a few people asking me can they join the scheme.
I knew you wouldn't be disappointed.
So, you managed to keep it secret from Mr. Blaketon, then?
Yeah, but to be honest, I don't think I'm going to bother any longer. I'm already making money out of it. It's him who's the loser.
I wouldn't be too sure about that if I was you.
So you know.
More than you might think.
How do you mean?
This cleaning gear of yours.
What about it?
It's all been nicked, every single box of it.
Don't be ridiculous.
It was part of a massive consignment stolen from a warehouse in Hull last month. It was due to be shipped out to Holland, but your friend Leonard, he got there first. Now, if you don't believe me, you can ask Al Ventris. You've been stuffed, Vernon. Well and truly stuffed.
Liz, Jenny, what can we do for you?
Phil, we just wondered if there was any news yet. Well?
We've had the syringe tested for fingerprints. The only ones on it were Jack's, which meant he must have injected himself.
Well, I didn't doubt that anyway. Did you?
No.
There's something else, isn't there?
I'm afraid there is. We had tests done on the insulin bottle that Jack was injecting himself from. It's of much greater strength than that marked on the bottle.
Then somebody must have tampered with it.
That's not what you think, is it? You think he died because I made a mistake, don't you?
Sarah McLean just phoned me. She was about to leave for the inquest, wanted to know if there'd been any developments. I had to tell her about the insulin in the syringe being of a different strength to that in the bottle.
She would have heard that at the inquest anyway, Sarge.
Yes, that's true. She also volunteered that her solicitor visited her at the house.
I see. Well, maybe I'm going mad. Maybe I just imagined seeing that bloke in the hospital.
No, I think you should follow that up. Why don't you go down there now, see if you can find him?
Sarge.
Bellamy, I'd like you to attend the inquest. Keep me informed of any developments.
Sarge.
It's disconnected.
It's obviously skedaddled.
What are we going to do?
I mean, if it's stolen, shouldn't we tell the police?
So they find out I've been handling stolen goods. It's illegal, David.
We didn't know they were stolen.
Do you think that's going to make any difference to Sergeant Merton? The only thing for it is we've got to get every box of cleaning goods back. And then get on to Alventris and hope he can square it with Hull Police quietly, so Merton doesn't find out.
Yeah, but then people are going to want their money back.
Then I'll have to give it them, won't I?
Right, you all ready?
As I'll ever be. I feel as if I've been tried and found guilty.
It's not you that's to blame, Liz.
Neither of you is to blame. I'm sure the coroner will see that when he's heard all the evidence.
I wish I could share your confidence, Ben.
All you can both do is tell the truth, Liz.
That's what we have been doing. This could be the end of both our careers.
Oh, don't be silly.
I'm being serious, Ben. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Let's go, shall we?
Mrs. Winstanley's out.
Yeah, Mrs. Hackett and Mrs. Laidlaw are too.
Oh, blimey, this is going to take forever. Oh, well. Let's try Mrs. Abbott again. Staplehurst Grange.
You all right, Mrs. McLean?
A bit nervous about going into the witness stand.
You'll be fine.
Oh, Constable, I spoke to your sergeant earlier. He told me about the bottle containing the wrong strength of insulin.
So I believe.
I was really shaken. I mean, I thought Dr. Merrick was totally professional.
Well, she didn't actually dispense the insulin herself.
But her pharmacist did. I don't know what exactly's happened, but one way or another between them, they've killed my husband.
Now, it's too soon for anybody to say that, Mrs. McLean.
No, it isn't. It's perfectly clear.
Excuse me. Can you tell me your name, please?
Gareth. Gareth Dodson.
I didn't see you at Sarah McLean's house the other night, did I?
I'm afraid I don't know anybody of that name.
So you don't drive a blue Vauxhall, then? I mean, obviously I can find that out, but it would be easier if you told me.
Well, yes, I do.
Then I think you were at Mrs. McLean's house. And I'd like you to tell me why.
That's none of your business.
Well, I'm afraid it is. I think you better come down to the station and clarify a few things for us, don't you?
I showed Dr. Merrick into the room and left them alone. That was the last time I saw him. I left the house soon afterwards. I'm afraid I'm not sure whether she was still there, but I assumed she was. I spent the afternoon at the cottage. The first I knew that anything was wrong was when Sergeant Merton called to tell me that Jack had been found dead.
Mr. McLean, you say, had been depressed for some time.
Yes, but as I told the police, I find it very hard to believe he committed suicide. I still do. I believe there must be some other reason for his death. I'm sorry, I'm not sure there's much more I can add.
Thank you, Miss Delbraith. You've been very helpful.
I've got nothing to tell you.
Oh, I think there's a lot you can tell us. What exactly is your relationship with Sarah McLean?
We're friends.
Close friends?
Just friends.
Were you friends with Jack as well?
No.
Did he know about your friendship with his wife?
You're trying to make some kind of insinuation about my relationship with Sarah.
We're just trying to get to the truth, Mr. Dodson.
Why did Ruth claim that you were a solicitor? when in fact you're a lab technician at Ashley General?
Because... I don't really know.
I think it's time the lying stopped, don't you?
How's it going, Vernon?
Oh, slowly, but we're getting there. David, finish unloading the truck, will you?
There's a few more for you there, anyway.
I'd say thanks, but I'm not in a very grateful mood. Here.
Well, it was a cracking idea in theory, Vernon. I'm really sorry.
Yeah, so are we all. The only person getting any satisfaction out of this is Oscar Blaketon. Apart from Slippery Leonard, of course.
See you then.
Sarah and I have been seeing each other for over a year. She needed something. Someone. Jack was becoming more and more impossible. Depressed, demanding, drinking far too much. She had to do something.
And what exactly did she do?
She asked me if I knew of a way we could get rid of him. The insulin seemed the perfect solution. I could get it from the hospital after all.
So she put the insulin that you provided into one of Jack's own bottles?
Yes.
Knowing that the next time he injected himself, it would kill him?
The whole thing would probably have worked if it hadn't been for her.
You mean Ruth?
She found out about our affair a couple of months ago. We had no idea. But the night Jack died, she went to see Sarah, confronted her, said she knew about me, and that we conspired somehow or other together to get rid of him. Sarah admitted it. Ruth said she'd keep quiet, but only if Sarah gave her a lot of money once probate had come through. Well, she's not going to get it now, is she?
I spent the afternoon shopping. I gave the police details of which shops, and I believe they verified it. Then I went home. The police and Dr. Merrick were already there. So ironic when I think about it. Jack thought she was an excellent doctor, that she ran an excellent practice. We both thought that. How wrong can you be? And yet she'll probably deny all responsibility. Or blame a pharmacist. Well, the pharmacist's to blame, all right, but the ultimate responsibility is hers. You killed him! You killed Jack!
Mrs. McLean, please take some time to compose yourself.
Sarah, it's not true. Now, I don't have an explanation for Jack's death, but I know I'm not responsible for it.
I don't believe you.
Sarah McLean. I'm arresting you on suspicion of the murder of your husband, Jack McLean.
What?
You're not obliged to say anything unless you wish to do so. But what you say may be put in writing and given in evidence.
Dennis? I don't understand.
I'll explain later, Liz. Come in.
Mr. Albright! You aren't going anywhere either. We want to question you in relation to an allegation of blackmail.
So, I think a toast is in order. To Aidensfield's lovely GP.
And to her equally lovely pharmacist.
Both of whom could have been out of a job, maybe even behind bars if it hadn't been for you, Dennis.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, here's to all of us, I say. To many more happy years in the village.
Here's to that. Cheers.
Cheers.
Sergeant Merton.
Mrs. Winstanley.
I suppose you've heard all about it.
About what?
It's an absolute scandal. He's made criminals out of the lot of us.
Who has?
Him, Vernon.
I'll have another, please, Gina.
I'll get these. I'm not sure you're in a position to.
You can say that again. I'm absolutely skint.
You have got most of the gear back, though, haven't you, Vernon?
All of it, as a matter of fact.
Apart from Mrs. Winstanley, she was out every time we went round.
Al Ventris has had a word with the police in Hull. I mean, they're not going to give you any trouble, are they?
No. At least I ought to be grateful for that. I mean, if Dennis Merton had got hold of it, imagine the stink he'd have made.
So, are you going to do something about it? A what?
Oh, I don't think you'll need to imagine it, Vernon. I think you're about to experience it for real.
I think you know there's something out there that can be laid at your door. And this loss of memory is very convenient.
That's amazing. Bernard, I have seen the future! And it's
polypropylene tetracarbohydrate.
Plastic wrapping! It's going to make me a fortune!